What else? Right, we've had a bit of an issue going on within the UK, especially within Birmingham, and I think maybe some other places, but it's become a national topic of debate, and that is to do with, somebody asked, do you listen to Sheikh Imran Hussein? I don't, no, I don't. Right, so somebody, right, so it's become a topic of national debate, teaching children about homosexuality. So what is all of this? Okay, and in schools, and this No Outsiders program. Right now, I want to say that, look, I think that this whole topic, this whole debate has been mishandled. Okay, it's been mishandled, especially by the people repping the Muslim cause. That's what I feel. That's my, perspective from how I've seen things on social media. Now you've got, yes, there's been a lot of kind of protests and stuff like that. But what I feel is Muslims need to stop. You see, that first of all, we need to clear up that there's nothing wrong in teaching if it's simply. So I watched a national debate where the representatives said that we do not teach the children. I mean, once again, it can be debated. If people have evidence to the contrary, they can bring it forward. But in that, on that debate, the kind of Ofsted people said we do not teach them about the sexuality or sexualization. Like, we don't teach them about sexual relationships. We're just teaching them that some people have, like, some people have two mums, some people have two dads, like that. Now, I would say if that's simply the case, then that isn't a problem. That, that is not a problem, people, right? Because if that is the reality, because there are people out there that have gay parents. So if that's the situation, if that's all they're teaching, if they're just creating an awareness, then that's fine. If they're teaching things about sexuality and about actual sex, not just sexuality, about sex, then I agree that it's problematic, I feel, depending on age appropriateness. So to what age? So I feel that's fine, teaching young people that, but I think some ages, they should, like, there's not, like, I would disagree strongly if you're teaching that to, like, a 5-year-old about sex. Like, I would feel that I would disagree with that, because I feel that you shouldn't be kind of imposing the specifics of sex upon young children. Now, so if that's the case, then that's how you should argue it as Muslims. Right? That's what you should be presenting. That, look, okay, that the age, if it's just teaching them that, look, some people have, as on one of the debates I watched, that one of the Ofsted kind of inspectors said, no, all we're teaching is about relationships and not about actual sex. That doesn't come into it at all. I don't know if that's the reality or not, but that's what I heard on this one national debate. If that be the case, that I think is not an issue, and we as Muslims shouldn't become insecure to that. Right? We need to relax. You're not going to become gay just by knowing other people are gay. It's like, oh no, now that I know other people are gay, I can't help it. I can't help Oh no! I can't help but become camp. It's like, look, relax yourselves, people. Stop becoming so insecure. Okay? Just because other people are gay, you don't just become gay by knowing that, okay? Some people have got some serious insecurities. And it makes me think that there must be a lot more... these people that are seriously insecure, I feel that they kind of... they're kind of closet homosexuals or borderline. This is why they're so kind of, they get worked up about these things. Now, so just to clarify, that's, so that if it's just relationships, I would say that that's not an issue, right? I've got a young daughter, I mean, one's 7, one's 4. Now, if somebody said to them, and not to kind of go OTT over the top, but if they had something where they said, look, by the way, some people out there, they have a mum and a dad, and some people just have a mum, and some people might just live with a dad, and some people might live with 2 dads, and some people might live with 2 mums. I think there's nothing wrong in that. Personally, I don't think that that's problematic. Because I think children, they just observe. And they understand that the kind of default thing is like a mum and dad. And they just get that. And they understand that some people might not be like that, but that's the kind of default setting. I don't think you need to worry too much about that. That this is almost inherently built in. Because if you think about it, even with creatures in general, I mean, regardless of humans, they get that sense of the kind of whatever the tribe or whatever the kind of family thing is. Now, but if they were going to teach about actual sex, then I would have a problem if it was at this kind of age. Okay, so a bit older, I wouldn't have a problem that they teach them that there are sexual relationships. But at a very young age, I think that you're robbing the children of their innocence and things like that by all this kind of sex talk. So that's the angle that I feel that Muslims and non-Muslims, because there's many non-Muslims that agree with us on that. You know, you'll be surprised. There's many people in this country that agree on that. That, you know, you shouldn't be teaching sex to very young children. So if that's the issue, that's how we should be promoting it. Not in a kind of, homosexuality should be like... And I think, you know, I watched this one interview with some guy said, look, but it's, it's my religion, you can't be like this any. You can't be like this any. So, and the person not asking you any about your religion any. They're just saying that that it's being taught that some relationships are like this. And then there was is it Good Morning or one of those that I saw, and this question that, look, is this a sin any in our religion any? Look, you have to understand something, people. Look, your religion is a private affair. Okay? It is not a sin for non-Muslims. Right? Non-Muslims are غير مخاطبين بالشرع. They're not بتكاليف الشرع. They are not mukallaf. They are not liable for Islamic teachings. So you don't say to a non-Muslim, oh, you never prayed Dhuhr. Oh, that's gunaini. That's guna. Because they're not being asked to pray. They're not Muslim. So they're not asked to follow the Sharia. So this is for you. It's as a person. It's like, I believe that, look, this is my belief. Fine, this is what I live by. You don't believe that. So fine, you teach what you believe. And somebody, you know, there was this discussion online, and I mentioned that, look, Imam Malik taught us that we ought to defend the rights of people. When he was asked about people who were committing as a lifestyle choice people. No, I don't just mean as a one-off, as a lifestyle choice. They would engage in actual incest relationships. Right? In Imam Malik's time, when he's in a position of power, power, not like just you and me sitting here today, or like some of these total keyboard warrior losers. He was in an actual position of power, where he could actually implement or have implemented what he wanted. And he was asked that, look, there are people who marry their own sisters, their own mothers, their own daughters, and they say that's their way of life. Should we get involved as part of the state, so to speak? And what did Imam Malik say? He said, La, no. He said, if that's their way of life, that's their way of life. We do not get involved. Even this is for those who were in the Muslim country, in the Islamic kind of empire, that we do not get involved. Imam Malik said that Allah taught us to be tolerant of when they even worship other gods other than Him. This is their personal practice. If God was tolerant about that, why would it bother Him about this? That if they do this, they do it. Obviously, we disagree with it. We're not going to do it. We don't advocate it. But if that's their way of life, that's their way of life. So I think there's so much to learn from what Imam Malik was teaching. So we have this thing today that we have to not only, we don't want to do it, but other people, and by the way, nobody can disagree. So I mentioned, I've got a talk on YouTube called, it's a segment from a lengthier segment called Homosexuality and Islam, a Diverse Perspective. Now, or a diverse history, I think it's called something like that. Now, in there I speak about how there were several scholars from Islamic history who believed homosexuality was not haram. Now, amongst them, Qadi Yahya ibn Aktham, who used the Quran to justify that it wasn't haram. And there were other scholars and people, and I mentioned stories of people who were open about their homosexuality, like Abu Bakr ibn Dawood, the great muhaddith, master of hadith. I spoke about Ibn Hazm in his book of At-Tawq al-Hamama, where he writes about several, illustriously writes, may I add, in great detail. He writes about all kinds of things going on, but many of the escapades that were going on in his time, that people were getting up to the nutty ones, and many of them, or about half of them, homosexual. And he'll be writing about it, and he says, oh yeah, and this fulan person and this fulan person, and he seems to be very kind of just laid back about it. He doesn't seem to be like, he's just saying it. And he begins the book by saying, I'm over 40 years of age when I'm writing this book, so don't think I wrote this out of some kind of like childishness, okay, that I'm of a mature age when authoring this. And there is an English translation of it. You should read it. It's called, in Arabic, Tawq al-Hamama. I think in English they might have called it Ring of the Dove, or yeah, I think something like that, Ring of the Dove or something like that. But you get this, and you get other great scholars, and they're openly promoting they openly boast about their homosexual poetry. Now tell me, what is that about then? Why does Qadi Abu Bakr ibn Arabi and all these other great scholars, they'll openly, including Ibn Hazm and all these people, they'll openly boast about like homosexual poetry, and these were the people. So either these people are all deviants, and if they are, then there goes our tradition, because they're the authors. They wrote everything, right? Because look at Imam Nawawi. Imam Nawawi writes in his Fatawa book, I've got it right here, I've actually shown it. He writes how he finds his personal opinion. He says it is unquestioned. He treats it like a fact. He says fact. Right, that's a fact. He says that teenage boys are much more beautiful than any woman on earth. This is what he writes. He says this is a known fact. I've got to do that kind of Trump. And he's treating it like a fact. And this is like where you're thinking, huh? What kind of women did he have around him? Did he have women like with these big scruffy beards? Cavemen women. Yeah. some of the Neanderthal tribes had still survived on to Imam Nawawi's time. And hence Imam Nawawi never got married. You know, it's like, and he writes this in his fatwa. Go to his fatwa book about the Amrad, the boy, the kind of boy in his mid-teens or late teens, that kind of, who hasn't fully developed a full beard and stuff like that. And he says that there's no doubt that their Jamal, their beauty, outdoes the beauty of any woman. And you think, well, okay, right, okay, this is getting weird. Imagine you're in his class and you're in his class and he starts, and you're there because he has a commentary on Sahih Muslim, and you're there for the commentary, and then he starts all of this, and you're like, right, okay, Sheikh, can we focus on the hadith? But my point is, so unquestionable, if he's finding young boys attractive, or like teenage boys, I'm not saying he did something, I'm just saying, but he's openly saying, and he's not being shy about it, he's writing it openly, that yeah, they're more, in fact, they're not only beautiful, he says they're more beautiful than women, any women. And so here he's expressing this kind of bisexuality that he feels is universal. He feels that all men would be like, duh, everybody knows that. That's the kind of, he's writing it with that level of confidence that, you know, every reader is going to be like, duh, of course, you know. But so now, so what is Imam Nawawi then? You know, if he's finding these guys attractive, I mean, so is he a deviant? I mean, are we going to chuck all these people out of the faith now? So my point is that when I expressed that there was a diversity of views, I'm not saying it's you have to accept it. I'm not saying it's my view, but I'm saying these people had all these views. So look, what's the problem? What's the problem? If some people followed some of these views, I'm just saying, why does it bother us? Why does it doesn't have to, like, people feel that my Islam can only be valid so long as I can impose it on the whole of the Muslim Ummah. And then my Islam is good enough for me. Why? Your Islam is for you. You know, like, look, all the madhabs disagree amongst themselves. So look, according to one madhab, like the Hanafi madhab, borderline alcohol is fine, you know, with their nabidh. According to the others, it's haram. According to some madhabs, they've said things like Qarafi and others, some other Malikiyah, that look, cannabis is not haram. According to others, it is haram. According to some madhabs, apart from pig, every other animal is halal or permitted to eat, even if it's discouraged, but it's permitted, including carnivorous animals, including predatory animals, including every fish, every amphibian, every bird, that if you wanted to eat it, you could. I'm not saying you have to, but everything is permitted, and that's the Maliki madhab. But yet, so many of those things that they would, like eating crocodile, eating kangaroo, eating eagle, let's say vultures, eagles. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm just saying that it's not haram. Eating tigers or lions or endangered species, we need to curb it in. We need to curb it. Eating wolves, right? So I'm just saying that it's not haram. According to all the other madhabs, it's haram. That look, the madhabs have disagreed in almost everything from the beginning. What's the big deal? We've never had uniformity. You know, we've never been just all monotonously one. That has never happened. So where people follow different views, they do. So look, if some gay people, right, I'm just saying, let's say some gay Muslims said, oh, right, I'm gay, I'm Muslim, and they follow that view, let's say, that there have been some ulama in the past, they've been a minority, they follow that view that they say, look, that this, that this isn't haram or whatever, that's their way. Now, we can disagree with them. We can say, look, okay, according to my understanding, it would be haram. But okay, fine, that's their way. Like, what's the big deal? Why do I... No, I can't have peace until you don't have the same view as me. But you don't have the same view as me in almost 99% of fiqh. Like, we don't agree in hardly anything. I'm Maliki, for God's sake. The Maliki madhab, even amongst themselves, they disagree so much. So, this is my point, that why do we have the urge to impose on others? Islam is for me. Like, if I feel, oh, being a homosexual is haram, let's say. Now, that's me. Fine, if somebody said, look, I follow what Qadi Yahya ibn Aktham said, or these other people, and it wasn't haram, majority of the Muslims did feel it was haram, but fine. Like, what's the big deal? Do you become homosexual because he said that he follows an opinion that is homosexual? What's going on? Like, what's the big deal? So just let them be. It's not like if it's not like if they didn't say that, they're gonna stop being homosexual. They're still gonna be you don't resolve anything. That's my point, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. And the irony is, somebody just on there said liar. Huizman said liar. And I sense, I don't know, but my gaydar detects a raw nerve in me. Naughty. Listen, Hussein, what's his name? Wait there. Hussein? What kind of a name is that? Seaman? Oh, Huizman. Sorry. I thought that's a rather odd name to name your child. Seaman. Okay. I thought it's rather cruel. Who Seaman? This one, who Seaman? Not you Seaman? Neighbor Seaman? Which postman Seaman? Which Seaman? Where did this Seaman come from? Well, who Seaman? I just want to say, look, it's alright. You can come out of the closet. Anyway. Alright, so I just wanted to share some of that. God, honestly, I just don't get the big deal. That I think, look, just live and let live. Believe what you want for yourself. Why impose it on others? Just, if I believe, look, like, think about it. If I feel eating, let's just say, I don't know, if I felt eating crocodile was haram, which I don't, but I'm just saying, Malikis think it's permissible, and somebody said, no, according to me, eating crocodile is halal, fine, it ain't gonna make me run out and eat a crocodile. Like, I'm just saying, just chill. Chill, man, chill. And, I don't get what people are getting upset about. I'm just quoting how the ulama had, that they were probably, in nature at least, bisexual. In nature. I'm not saying that, I don't know whether they practiced gay relationships, but they probably, most of them didn't, but and something, in that clip I quote a lot of people, and I'll tell you people that, some of the things you read about some of these scholars, you think, I'll give you an example. There's a really famous Qari, right? Really famous Qari Saab, right? He's one of the key transmitters, and he was a major grammarian as well, a rival of Sibawayh from the time of the Salaf, yeah? Now, his name is Kasai. Now, Kasai is one of the main transmitters as well of one of the qira'at of the Quran as well. Now, they would say about him that he was epic, he was a legend, he was like this, and, the guy knew his grammar to the T, and he knew his recitation like clockwork, and he knew this, and it's epic. But then they would say, oh, except he would often right in Arabic, غير أنه كان يديم النبيذ ويأتي الغلمان. That except that he would often be drinking that kind of like alcoholic drink, which he believed was halal, and he would often have kind of gay sex. You think, what? with his servants, he says, with his male servants, يأتي الغلمان. Now, you think, huh? I'm sorry, I missed a whole season. I feel like kind of like lost out here. Like, what the hell? We went from he's epic, he's a legend, you know, his recitation's on point, he's this. Oh yeah, and he used to often drink nabidh and have kind of gay sex with his male slaves. And you think, huh? Like, wait a minute, where did season 4 and season 5 go? How did I end up there? Like, but I mean, so my point is, people need to seriously tone it down. I'm just quoting the scholars. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot the messenger. You know, the hadith says the messengers are always safe. Okay? Ar-Rusul Amina. That when a messenger brings a message, no attack me, you know, no attack. You know, I messenger only, you know, only. This one only. No, sir. Yeah. Right, so